Hi there, Telebait here with another Legends of Runeterra deck guide. Today we'll be looking at a Nightfall deck. I'll go over the deck list, some tips, how to mulligan, and a review of one of my games a week into the new season in Diamond. Diana Nocturne Nightfall is a really fun, yet really complicated aggro deck. The deck does small amounts of chip damage, but when Nocturne levels up, he gives all allies fearsome. Every time you play a unit, you lower the attack of all enemies, and you use this to stop your opponent from blocking, so you can finish them in one turn. Typically with the deck, you try to set up this one big turn where you go in, and that's when you do most of your damage. But you do need that little bit of chip damage, as it's quite hard to get a 20 damage combo in one turn. Looking at the deck, the cards fall into two main categories, what I call activators and Nightfall units. For activators, I run Faded Memories, Lunari Dustbringer, and Solari Soldier. I run Stygian Onlooker, which can be used as both an activator and a Nightfall unit. And then we run Nightfall units, and these are for leveling Nocturne and getting in chip damage. So these are Lunari Shadestalker, Crescent Guardian, and Doom Beast. I run Diana. She's a great Nightfall card which helps control the board early on. As the deck runs a lot of low cost cards, you find yourself losing in card advantage and running out of cards fairly frequently. To counter this, I run a lot of draw. The draw cards I run are Glimpse Beyond, Pale Cascade, Stalking Shadows, and Unspeakable Horror. Stalking Shadows can also double up as an activator. And for finishers, I run Nocturne and Atrocity. Other cards that could work well in this deck are Gift Giver and Spaces Sketcher as alternative activators, Dusk Rider as another Nightfall unit. This card combos really well with Atrocity. And as an alternative finisher, you can also run Cygnus. But personally, I think this card is too expensive, and you're usually running low on activators by turn 7, which is when you'd look to play him. So, on to the tips and tricks. With this deck, you don't play the typical aggro style. There's no need to play cards in round 1, because you'll be throwing away some of your activators. Often, I just pass round 1, and sometimes I even just pass in round 2. The whole goal of this deck is to try and level Nocturne as quickly as possible, and therefore you want to try and squeeze in attacks with Nightfall units to help turbo level Noct. A key trick with this deck is when Nocturne levels, you don't need to attack with him to get his effect. So if you're going to attack in with him and he'll die, I'd rather just keep him back, attack with the other units, that way you get to keep his effect, which is both good on the defensive round as it lowers your opponent's attack, and gives you a second chance to finish your opponents off. With this deck, you often find yourself in a position where you don't have all the activators you need, so you always have to make the hard decision of what Nightfall effect you can do without. Usually I don't trigger Stygian or Shadestalker's effect, especially with a level Nocturne, as Nocturne will give the units fearsome anyway, so the elusive and fearsome effects they get aren't that important. This isn't a proper tip, but honestly I've messed up so often I'm including it in. Always hover your cards to check if they're ephemeral. You get ephemeral units from Stalking Shadows and Fading Memories, and I can't count the number of times I've played a unit and not realised it was ephemeral until it's too late. Honestly, just check. For the mulligan, I always look for my activators, which are Solari Soldier, Lunari Dustbringer, and Stygian. I don't look for Fading Memories, as this requires a board to use it on, and you don't usually have that board in the early rounds. The other card I always look for is Diana. She's just so important for controlling the board early on. For situational cards, I also keep Lunari Shadestalker if you already have some activators in hand, Stalking Shadows and Glimpse Beyond into control matchups where you need the extra draw. Before I leave you with the game review, hopefully you try out this deck and enjoy playing it. I put the deck code in the description below, and if you enjoyed the video or the deck, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a good day. So going into this game review, we're against a typical scout deck. So looking at this mulligan, this hand is fairly awful. I'd get rid of it all. Glimpse Beyonds aren't useful in this matchup. It's a very aggro, fast-paced matchup. You're looking for your early activators, and we have none of them here. Faded Memories, like I mentioned before, is not very good because it requires a board to use it on. We have nothing to use it on here. So this hand is looking fairly good. We only have one activator in terms of Stygian Onlooker, So we're probably going to play this on turn 3. It looks like it's going to be a double pass round, which is really bad into this matchup. Yeah. We're looking really rough in the activators here.
I'll do my best.
I don't think there's any case for playing Stygian. You could play Stygian, which stops the attack, but then we have absolutely no activators, which is awful. It's just better to take the 2 damage. Again here, this is our attacking turn, no advantage. We're just going to have to take the 5 damage next turn if he opens attack. And opening attacking would be a good scenario here. If he develops, then attacks. If he develops like an MF, we'll be in really big trouble here.
Batter him! No one goes hungry.
Okay, so he attacks in. What we're going to look to do is we'll play Stygian first, and then probably there's 2 options. We can play Diana or Shadestalker. It's a defensive turn, so we'd rather play Shadestalker because we're not making any use out of Diana's Challenger effect. And we really need to take control of this board again, so we want to make the most out of Diana's Challenger effect next turn. Honestly, at this point, if he curves out well, plays a Misfortune here, plays a 4-drop next turn, I think we can't come back from here because we've had quite a bad hand. But maybe he's not got that good a hand. He's had a good start so far, so maybe the rest of his hand isn't that great. Okay, War Chefs, which is good. It means he doesn't have a 3-drop, no Misfortune. So we play Shadestalker here. Okay, going into this turn, is there consideration to open attack? I don't think so. We can attack with the Stygian and the Shadestalker, which only does 2 damage, and the Stygian will probably die to one of the War Chefs. Seems really bad to me. And it's only 2 procs for Nocturne's level up. What we really need to do here is play Diana somehow. I'm thinking the only real option we have is to play a Pale Cascade without the draw, which feels really bad, but it's one of those where we only have Nightfall units. We need to sacrifice one of the Nightfall effects to make the most out of the rest of our units. You rarely want to play Nocturne on curve as well. You usually only want to play Nocturne once he's leveled up, or if he's going to level up. So I'm happy with this play. I think it's the best we got in this situation. We can use Diana to try and get some value back on the board.
Let's mess some folks up.
Okay, so looking here, we need to think carefully about who we attack with Diana. There's 2 options, really. You can either kill one of the War Chefs, but that requires you to use another Pale Cascade, or you can just kill the Grizzled Ranger, and I think killing the Grizzled Ranger is my preferred option. I'd also attack with all 3 units to help progress Nocturne's level up, even though the Stygian will probably die. And if you save the Pale Cascade, you can trade up with the Stygian, which is fairly good. Oh, I hope I don't do this. I really hope I don't do this. Okay, yeah, I do attack, that's good. I take the 2-2, which is interesting. It's a really hard one, whether that's a mistake or not, and I'm better going for the Grizzled Ranger. Because this weakens his board the most, I guess, but he still has the scout effect, and I have no way to block the scout. The plan into the next turn at this point will be blocking the scout with the 2-1. Now I'm really hoping for a Nightfall activator here. Oh god, and I don't get it. Oh, that's rough. It's rough. I think we play Nocturne. I think you have to play Nocturne without the level up here. There's just no other choice. Like, playing Nocturne gives us the Unspeakable Horrors, which is really good into the Grizzled Rangers.
Even a full moon has a dark side.
So now we can Unspeakable Horror one of the Grizzled Rangers and trade in the 2-1 into the other. I don't really want to commit using both Unspeakable Horrors, as that runs us completely out of mana. So he's had quite a good curve. He's only missed his 3-drop. He hasn't had a 5-drop. I don't think they run many 5-drops in that deck. Quinn. They run Quinn. So he hasn't got any of his champions. So we're quite lucky about that. We definitely have to trade in here. We can't afford to take all that damage.
The moon is our queen, the night her kingdom.
So I think what I've done here is fine. Pale Cascade into Nocturne to block the 3-4. I don't want to lose any Nightfall units as we need them to close out the game. But we're in a pretty rough situation here. We can't afford to take the full 12 damage here. So we definitely need to block some. Nocturne plus Pale Cascade was our only way of blocking. We could use Diana plus Pale Cascade as well. But we have the extra Nocturne in hand. So Nocturne dying isn't as bad if he uses something like a single combat to kill it afterwards.
Ignorant brawl.
Yeah, I'm happy with that double block. Definitely need to reduce the amount of damage I'm taking in. It's risky. Well, they don't have the only sort of removal they run is single combat, so they don't have anything which can kill off my units without losing one of their own. So I'm fairly happy with that. They'll lose one of their units, they'll lose a single combat.
My shield is yours.
For one of mine, so that's okay. Okay, so going forward here, I've already played the Stygian, proc the Nightfall, so now I can pick one Nightfall effect to proc. I can either play the Doom Beast or the Crescent Guardian. I personally prefer the Doom Beast here because it heals and I definitely need the extra health.
Arise in our time of need.
So that's an interesting choice. I'm just going for more damage here. No, I don't really like this because this pushes. So you can hook the Badger Bear with Diana, use the Unspeakable Horror to proc the barrier so Diana lives. But then the best value the Crescent Guardian gets is 3 damage, which doesn't seem that good to me. Compared to Doom Beast gets the 2 damage anyway, plus the 2 health healing. I prefer going for the Doom Beast play personally.
I've got your back.
So we get Dusk Rider, which many people believe is the worst card, but it actually combos really well with Atrocity. So if I get an Atrocity here, it could be huge.
I cannot turn back.
So setting up the attacks, Diana definitely hooks the strongest unit. He's still got 2 blockers, so he's going to block the Stygian and the Crescent Guardian. I don't want to attack with Nocturne here because otherwise Nocturne will die. And obviously I want to make it at least as difficult for him to kill Nocturne. I do have the second Nocturne in hand, but I want to force out at least the single combat for him to kill it.
Will be heard.
Shield up. I'll stop you.
One thing to note is he didn't have Genevieve this turn either, which is huge. If he had Genevieve, I was pretty much screwed, but he didn't, so alright. That being said, I could have always killed Genevieve with Diana.
Flavor, it's spice.
So I've just drawn Atrocity, so our win condition here to me looks like Dusk Rider into Atrocity. It depends how much attack Dusk Rider has.
The wood can't fight back, but I can.
He didn't just draw that Genevieve, actually. And I think that was a big mistake, him not playing it last round. He should have played it last round. It was so greedy for him saving it this round. So we're definitely looking into the Dusk Rider to Atrocity combo here. Dusk Rider's currently at 8 attack, 1 short. If we proc Dusk Rider's Nightfall effect, that'll bring him up to 9 attack, which is enough to win. This deck doesn't run any healing, so that's all we need. The options here, I guess, then are we can use Unspeakable Horror to proc the Dusk Rider effect, or we can use Doom Beast, look to proc Dusk Rider in the next round and use Atrocity on our opponent's next attacking round. My preferred option would be to try and play Dusk Rider this round, and kill Genevieve, which means single combats can no longer deny the atrocity. So our game plan this round will be to use Unspeakable Horror, play Dusk Rider, and kill Genevieve. That's how we win. So he's probably going to hook with Genevieve first, so we don't need to do anything this round. It might be next turn we might need to do something. He hooks the Shadestalker, so we're okay with this. If he hooks anything else with Genevieve, Genevieve will die. If he... The one thing he might do is he might do War Chefs with Genevieve hooking the Diana, which leaves it on 1 health. So we need the Unspeakable Horror to kill Genevieve. He could have Ranger's Resolve. At this point, I don't think we play around that. Again, we're not playing Doom Beast because we need to keep the mana for Unspeakable Horror into Dusk Rider. We're not playing Unspeakable Horror yet in case we need to use it on Genevieve.
Batter him!
Honor guide me.
My patience.
Hand to the face! Feel the sizzle!
And we have to sacrifice everything to live. If he did play one
No one goes hungry.
unit, we would have had to play Doom Beast. So yep, this is perfect. This is playing for our only out really. If he has Rally, we lose, but there's absolutely no way we could have played around it.
My duty's done.
Okay, and here we open Atrocity straight away because Concerted Strike and Single Combat both can't kill Dusk Rider, so we're safe with this Atrocity. And that's GG. So hopefully you enjoyed the game review. If you did, please let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.